Ever feel a bit lost in the maze of house hunting tips, real estate jargon, and mortgage rates? Well, fear not, because this video is going to be a step-by-step breakdown of the entire process of buying a house, making it as smooth as butter. Whether you're itching to make that first major investment or you've been out of the game for a bit and need a refresher, I've got you covered. We'll dive into the nitty-gritty details of budgeting, conducting the search, crafting a strong offer, and getting to the closing table. I'll even sprinkle in some insider tips to score you the best deal. So, if you've ever dreamt of unlocking your front door with that shiny new set of keys, hit the like button, smash the subscribe, and let's embark on this exciting journey together.
I'm going on an adventure!
The first step in buying a house is actually deciding whether or not you're even ready to buy a house. So before you jump into buying your first home, it's time to consider your budget. Your budget's going to be largely determined by two factors. The first step is determining how much you can afford to pay as your down payment. Your down payment is the amount of money you spend out of your own pocket to buy the house. Some loan programs allow you to put down as little as 3.5% of the purchase price of the home. For a $500,000 property, that's $17,500. Not a terrible barrier of entry for most people. But keep in mind, the less money you put down, the less equity you're going to have in the home from the get-go. If you only put down 3.5%, you're only going to have 3.5% equity in the home. And the less money you put down, the higher your monthly payment is going to be. Banks would prefer you put at least 20% down, because if you have any less than 20% equity in the home, you will be required to pay private mortgage insurance every month until you have gained at least 20% equity. Most Americans put down about 10% for their down payment. The second determining factor for your budget is going to be your monthly payment. When you take out a loan on a house, you're going to pay it back every single month for the course of the loan. Most people either choose a 30, 15-year, or 10-year loan. Your monthly payment is going to include principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. And if you have anything less than 20% equity in the home, you will also be paying private mortgage insurance. Keep in mind, most fixed-rate mortgages are amortized, meaning you will have the exact same monthly payment for the entire course of the loan. What changes is the percentage of principal and interest. You will pay mostly interest for the first several years of the loan. Now here's a pro tip. Ask your lender about making extra principal-only payments on top of your monthly payments. Doing this can save you thousands of dollars in interest and help you pay off your loan faster. Now, if you're going to do this, make sure that there is no prepayment penalty clause in the contract. It's also important to note that you should budget for your utilities and any unexpected maintenance that come up after you own the home. After all, you are the landlord. If the water heater goes out, it's on your dime. So how much should you spend on your monthly payment, your utilities, and your maintenance? A good rule of thumb is the rule of thirds. You shouldn't spend any more than 1/3 of your take-home pay on your housing. Okay, so you've done your budgeting and you've decided that it's financially feasible for you to buy a house. The second step is to reach out to a lender to get a pre-approval letter. A lender is somebody who is going to lend you money to buy the house. So unless you have enough dough to buy the house, you're going to want to reach out to either a mortgage broker or a bank. The lender is going to look at things like your income over the last 2 years, your debt to income ratio, and your credit history to determine how risky it is to lend you money. And based on that, they're going to give you your own personalized interest rate with consideration of the current market rate. The interest rate is the cost of borrowing money, and it is a percentage of the loan amount that you will have to pay them to borrow that money. So after the lender looks at your income, your creditworthiness, and your cash available for a down payment, they're going to grant you a pre-approval letter. This letter is going to tell you exactly what the top of your budget is. Here's a pro tip. No two lenders are built the same. Different lenders are going to offer different rates and different programs depending on what they have available. Some are going to overpromise, some are going to underpromise. Make sure you are working with somebody who is reputable and trustworthy. All right, congratulations. You've got your pre-approval letter. Make sure you hold on to that because you're going to need it when you make an offer on your house. But first, it's time to go shopping. We got to pump the brakes because shopping for a house isn't as casual as going down to your local Macy's and browsing the sales racks. It's likely this is the biggest purchase you'll have ever made, And it's also likely you're walking into unfamiliar territory. A house isn't like anything you've bought before. A house is what's called an asset. It's not just something that you buy, it's something that you park your money in hopes that it will grow over time and build you wealth. You should 100% of the time work with a professional real estate agent because they are going to understand how your local housing market behaves. They're going to know what a good deal looks like and what a bad deal looks like. They're going to be able to point out features in the house that you should be aware of. They're going to be able to point out any defects that there might be with the house. They will negotiate on your behalf to get you the best deal, and they will coordinate the transaction of buying the real estate, which tends to be complicated. So get with an agent who will help guide and educate you through the entire process. They will help you determine what's important in the house of your dreams and help point you in the right direction on how to find it. So how do you find a good real estate agent? Ask for recommendations from friends who have already bought houses. Check online reviews or check your local sales leaders. And if you're looking for somebody in the Boston area, give me a call. So you've got your real estate agent and you've got your pre-approval letter. It's now time to conduct the search. If you're not deliberate about what you need and what you want, it's easy to draw this process out way longer than it needs to be. Many people make the mistake of waiting for the right house to jump out at them. Trust me, no house is going to tap you on the shoulder. You're going to have to go out and find it. Before you even start going out and looking at houses, make a list of must-haves and a list of nice-to-haves. If a house doesn't have a must-have on it, don't even waste your time going out and looking at it. Communicate these criteria to your agent so they can look on your behalf. They'll know about properties sometimes before they even hit the market. Sometimes they know about houses that are off the market that you're still able to buy. So make sure you have clear and open communication with your real estate agent. Now here's another pro tip for house hunting. I can change anything about a house except for one thing. If I don't like the kitchen, I can change the kitchen. If I don't like the bathroom, I can change the bathroom. If it's too small, I can do an addition. I can go up, I can go down. I can finish the basement. I can do anything except one thing. I cannot change the location. Location is the number one qualifying criteria that you should consider when you're looking at houses. Is it in a healthy real estate market where the value is going to go up over time? Is it in a good neighborhood? Is it close enough to my job where the commute is manageable? These are all questions you should be asking about the location before you even start to look at pictures of the inside. The last thing you want to do is fall in love with a house that's in the wrong location.
It's all about location, location, location.
So once you've found a listing that fits your criteria, tell your real estate agent and they will either set up a private showing or you can go to an open house if one is available that you can make. Here's a pro tip for open houses. When the agent at the open house asks you to sign in, give them your real estate agent's phone number instead of your phone number. That way they won't set you up on their own marketing campaigns. When you are in the house, there are a few things to look out for. First of all, picture yourself in the space. Can you imagine yourself living there? Are there any weird smells? Are there any signs of damage or water or termites or anything else that might be wrong with the property? Look at the heating, cooling, water, electrical systems. Are they old, worn out? Will they need to be replaced? Will the roof need to be replaced in the next few years? Is there any issues with the foundation or the subflooring? Are there precautions put in place to keep water out of the basement? These are all expensive repairs that you don't want to be caught with after immediately moving in. A real estate agent who has your best interest in mind will point all of these things out for you so that you are prepared and understand what you are getting into with this house. You will probably look at between 2 and 10 houses before you find something that you are ready to make an offer on. So you found a house you love and you're ready to make an offer. How do you make an offer that's strong and presentable to the seller? The first order of business is to understand that just because a house is listed for a certain price doesn't mean that that is what it is going to sell for. At the end of the day, the house is going to sell for what a buyer is willing to pay and what a seller is willing to accept. There are 3 factors to consider when deciding what price to offer. The first is comparable market data. Your real estate agent should provide you with a list of similar sized homes that sold within a half-mile radius of the subject property that sold within the last 6 months. First, look at the average sale price and the average price per square foot and compare it to the listing price of the subject property. Then look at the individual sales. Which houses are similar and how do their prices compare? What does this house have that the house down the street doesn't have, and vice versa? What you'll find is that determining offer price is not quite an exact science, because the second determination in deciding what price to offer is your own personal opinion of the value. For example, A seller might find it extremely valuable to have a pool in the backyard. But to you, a pool is just a money pit that you'd rather just fill in. Or the extra office space in the house is worth at least another $50,000 to you in this market, but to the seller, they're just using it as a closet. Sometimes it's hard to put a dollar amount on things like this, but your agent should be able to help you. The third determining factor for your offer price is going to be competition. In a competitive market, it's likely you're going to run into a multiple bid situation. In this scenario, the question isn't, what should I pay for the house? The real question you should be asking yourself is, what am I willing to lose this house for? Because somebody else might outbid you. And at the end of the day, you should be able to sleep well at night knowing that you put your best foot forward and somebody else overpaid. Or vice versa, you put your best foot forward and you won, not exceeding what you truly valued the house for. This can be a very challenging thing to do for some people. So if you're struggling to determine what to offer, lean on your professional agent's expertise because they will help guide you to what that number is. This is why it's so important to be working with somebody that you trust has your best interests in mind so that you know that they are guiding you the right way. A good agent will negotiate on your behalf in any type of offer scenario, whether you're going up against 20 other people or you're making a lowball offer on a house that's been on the market for 100 days with no bites. It's also important to know that the offer price is not the only part of your offer. There are also terms that you're going to have to consider. Are you going to ask for an inspection? Do you have a financing contingency? How much earnest money are you going to deposit? What's the closing date that you're going to have? Are you going to offer a lease back? Are there any inclusions or exclusions on the property? These are all levers at your disposal that you can use to make your offer look presentable to the seller. And don't lose hope if you lose an offer or two. In most cases, in a competitive market, it's going to take you between 2 and 5 offers to actually get one accepted. So congratulations, your offer has been officially accepted. It's time to kick the transaction into gear. Your agent is going to link you up with either a closing attorney or a title company. This is going to be determined by the state that you're in. They both essentially serve the same function, and that is to confirm that the person you're purchasing the house from actually owns it and to get it transferred into your name the correct and legal way. After you're linked up with your attorney or your title company, the next step, if it was part of your offer, is to hold the inspection. This is typically done within a week after your offer is accepted. And it's very important that you are present at the inspection because the inspector is going to go over everything that they find live in person with you. They're also going to write up an inspection report at the end of it so that you have a laundry list of everything that they found in that inspection. If you have an inspection contingency as part of your offer, then you have the right to back out of the deal if something comes up on the inspection that you do not want to take on as the new owner. Keep in mind that the inspection is a cost that you will have to pay out of pocket. It will typically run you anywhere from $500 to $1,000 depending on the size of the house. If something does come up on the inspection that you want to renegotiate, you can always go back to the negotiation table and see what you can work out with the seller. Assuming everything goes well with the inspection, the next step in the process is to sign the purchase and sale agreement, or the P&S. This typically happens about a week after your offer is accepted. The purchase and sale agreement will be negotiated by either your attorney or your real estate agent, depending on what state you're in. It is the legal contract outlining how the sale will take place. It will include everything from deadlines to the closing date, what legal protections you have, what contingencies you have in place that were accepted by the offer. It will include who you are, who the seller is, and everything that details how the sale will take place. Along with signing the purchase and sale agreement, you will make your earnest money deposit. This is usually about 5% of the purchase price, which is to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars. The reason you make this deposit is to keep you accountable to the terms of the contract. If you miss any deadlines in the contract or decide to back out of the deal for any reason that's not allowed by the contract, you will be in breach of contract and the seller will have the right to take your deposit. A purchase and sale agreement is a very serious contract, so make sure that you review it carefully so that you fully understand the terms and conditions. Okay, after you sign your purchase and sale agreement and you make your earnest money deposit, it's time to apply for the loan. Just because you have a pre-approval letter does not mean that you will automatically be approved for a loan. You'll have to do the official application for the loan, usually within a day of signing the purchase and sale agreement. Now, you don't have to use the same lender who gave you the pre-approval. You're allowed to shop around and look for the best rate and the best service. That being said, a lot of my clients use the same lender that gave them the pre-approval because they already have all of their information, and it makes the process that much more streamlined. Once you've officially applied for the loan, a lot of the work that you have to do is already done. Your team, meaning your agent, your attorney, title company, and lender, are going to do a lot of work in the background to make sure that you make it to the closing table. Just so you're aware of timelines, it usually takes between 30 and 45 days from the time your offer is accepted to the time you get to the closing table. One of the things that your lender is going to do in the background is order an appraisal on the house. They're going to send out an appraiser that they approve to make sure that the house is worth what you are actually wanting to pay for it. If it comes back that it's worth less than what you want to pay for it, one of three things will happen. Either you'll have to walk away from the deal, you could negotiate the offer price to become where the appraisal is, or you could make up the difference out of your own pocket. Assuming the appraisal goes okay, you're going to get what's called a clear to close from the lender, and you will be ready to go to the closing table. Be aware that usually the appraisal is a cost that you are expected to pay as the buyer. It's usually roughly between $500 and $1,000 depending on where you're at and what the size of the house is. Know that you'll probably either pay that at the time of the appraisal or as part of your closing cost. The last order of business before your closing is to do a final walkthrough. This usually happens either 1 or 2 days before closing, and it's to make sure that the seller moved everything out of their house and it is in broom-swept condition. A final walkthrough is not an inspection. All it is to make sure that they moved everything out and that the house is in the same condition as it was when you made your offer. Assuming everything goes well on the final walkthrough, it's time for closing. Congratulations, you made it to closing day. There's a few things that you're going to need to bring with you to your attorney or your title company's office. And yes, you need to be there in person if you are getting a loan on the house because the loan documents need to be notarized. Bring your ID, a fresh pen, and your down payment and closing costs in one form or another. Your attorney or title company will inform you exactly how much money you need to bring and in what form. It will usually be either the form of a certified bank check or a money wire. There are three things that you cannot pay your down payment and closing costs with, and that is a personal check, a credit card, or cash. Your closing costs will include your down payment, attorney fees, any kind of loan origination fee, title insurance for the lender, optional title insurance for the homeowner, appraisal fees, and in some cases, recording fees. All in all, expect your closing costs to be anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000 or more, depending on the size of the house. So once all the documents are signed and the money is paid, congratulations. The title company or the attorney, depending on what state you're in, is going to record it at the Registry of Deeds. You'll receive the deed, which is the receipt for the transaction, and you will get the keys to your new home. Congratulations, you made it all the way through the process. Here we are at the closing day. You've got the keys to your new home. It was a complicated process, but we did it together. Remember, work with somebody who knows what they're doing so that they can guide and educate you through the process because it is not simple. And if you haven't done it before or if you haven't done it in a while, I hope that this video was a good refresher. If you liked what you saw and you want more, please hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. Comment if you have any questions. I love to address anything that you may have. Thank you for watching.